There are a few characters in the JFK assassination saga that loom as large as H.L. Hunt. In 1963, Hunt's personal fortune was estimated at $16 billion, 4 times the combined visible wealth of the Rockefellers. This was in large part to the oil depletion allowance, which had shielded around 30% of Texas oil profits from taxation for decades. I guess you know JFK wanted to end that tax break in order to reap millions for the Treasury. That alone would have been enough to put Hunt into action, since Hunt controlled a vast private intelligence network, one that included the John Birch Society. When you sift through the facts of this case, 2 nexus points emerge. One in Miami called JM Wave, the largest CIA station outside Langley, and the other based around the Texas oil barons who funded the John Birch Society and other right-wing hate groups, a list that included Clint Murchison, Fred Koch, and both Hunt brothers. These rich Texans were very close with right-wing elements in the military and, in fact, had funded the political campaign of General MacArthur and supported retired General Edwin Walker, who'd been drummed out of the Army after distributing John Birch Society material to his troops. Supposedly, Oswald took a shot at Walker shortly before JFK's assassination. Hunt's son Nelson helped purchase a full-page ad in the Dallas newspaper the day JFK arrived. It accused the president of betraying the Constitution. In addition, a leaflet appeared all over town that accused JFK of treason. These were not random events, but obvious propaganda ploys intended to soften up the city for what was about to happen. In fact, I've always suspected James Angleton wrote a secret report accusing JFK of being a communist mole high inside the government. Angleton was convinced this mole existed based on the information provided by a fake defector. Throughout the Cold War, Russian spooks like Kim Philby were dancing circles around the CIA and manipulating the paranoid Angleton in the process. Sam Giancana and Richard C. Nagel both claimed the Texas oil crowd put up the money to fund the assassination, and Nagel placed H.L. Hunt at the epicenter of the conspiracy. Keep in mind, Hunt was the money man behind both LBJ and Joseph McCarthy, who actually was very close to the Kennedy family. Robert Kennedy learned how to play dirty tricks from being on McCarthy's staff, where the professor of dirty tricks was a lawyer named Roy Cohn, who would soon rise to great influence, eventually becoming the mentor for Donald Trump. So Hunt was a major player in the realm of secret societies. Strange, though, how the Hunts and Murchison eventually got busted down to almost nothing at one point after becoming 3 of the richest people in the world, which just goes to show how the real money power resides in the Eastern establishment, trusts, and banks on Wall Street, and not the individual billionaires who can come and go with market trends. Funny how the John Birch Society was so peppered with Freemasons of the 33rd degree, high-ranking officials of the Federal Reserve banking system, and members of the Council of Foreign Relations. They started out attacking communism, which they blamed on the Rockefellers and Rothschilds. But if you know anything about communism, you know spooks set most of it up. Was there ever a time when spooks weren't running the American Communist Party? So it's only appropriate to suspect the anti-communist movement would have been similarly set up and run by spooks. Deep politics is a wilderness of mirrors. In 1975, Penn Jones received this anonymous letter, which some think was written by Lee Oswald and others claim is a forgery. This letter would soon feed right into the E. Howard Hunt rabbit hole, but in fact it's far more likely a note like this would have been written to H.L. Hunt, who actually lived in Dallas, and is someone Oswald might have conducted secret meetings with. At least that's what Nagel claims. Unless, of course, the letter was just a rabbit hole, which seems likely.